Hi everybody, today's topic is dividing fractions. You do not need to write down everything in this video, but be sure to jot down important information and at least one example of each type of problem that we cover. Also remember that you can pause to jot down important notes, rewind to view information again, and fast forward if you think you got it already. Just be careful and make sure that you don't fast forward too much that you miss out on something important. So let's begin with our review of division. Remember that division is grouping the total into equal groups. So for example, with 20 divided by 5, we can show 20 divided by 5 by drawing 20 total blue dots divided into groups with 5 dots inside each of them. And the answer would be how many groups there are total. The answer would be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because there are 4 groups with 5 dots in each of them. So the first number, the dividend, tells you the total number of objects. The second number, the divisor, tells you how many objects are in each group. And the answer, the quotient, tells you how many groups there are total that you circled. Using that information, let's give you an example of dividing fractions by fractions. We have the example 2/5 divided by 1/5. So how would we show 2/5 divided by 1/5? We will use the tape diagram method first by drawing 2/5 and dividing them into groups of 1/5. So the tape diagram method first. Step 1. You're going to draw and shade in the first number, the dividend. That is 2/5. So we are going to draw a box with 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, to create 5 parts. But we're only going to shade in 2 parts out of the 5 total parts to show 2/5. So that we see 2 out of 5. And then step 2, make sure that's in your notebook, we're going to divide the shaded parts into groups based on the second number. So we're only going to circle groups of 1/5. So 1/5 and another 1/5. Only 1 out of the 5 parts will we circle. So then your answer would be the quotient. How many groups of 1/5 are there to get to your answer? There are 2 groups of 1/5, so your answer is 2. There's only 2 circles that you circled. With the algorithm method, remember that division is the same as multiplying by the divisor's reciprocal. So 2/5 divided by 1/5 would be changed into 2/5 times 5 over 1. When you multiply both sides, you get 2 times 5 on the top, which is 10, 5 times 1 on the bottom, which is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 10/5 is the same as 2. So that's using the tape diagram method and the algorithm method to get to your answer of 2. There are 2 groups of 1/5 in 2/5, which makes sense. 1/5 plus 1/5 is 2/5. So there's 2 1/5 in there. So that's dividing fractions. Let's take a look at some examples, because it can get more tricky. Go ahead and pause your video and see if you can solve this problem using the tape diagram method and the algorithm method, because you will need to know how to do both of them. Okay, so let's do this one together then to see if you got it correct. The first number with the tape diagram method is the one that's being drawn. Okay, so we're going to draw 2/5. So I have my tape diagram. I need to create 5 different parts, so that means I'm drawing 4 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm only shading in 2 out of the 5. 1, 2 out of the 3, 4, 5. Use my yellow, only shading in 2 of them. And I need to divide into groups of 8/5. So I'm only circling groups of 8/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm using dotted lines to show that those don't actually exist there. So this would be my circle right here. It's not even a whole group of 8/5. 8/5 is bigger than 2/5. So I had to have more shaded in, but I only had 2 out of my 8. So the answer here is going to be less than 1. It's going to be less than 1 whole. I have 1, 2 out of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that I needed. So my answer is 2/8. If I reduce that, I'm going to need to divide top and bottom by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the answer is 1/4. I only have 1 out of the 4 that I need. I have 1 out of 2, 3, and 4 that I need. Okay, so that one isn't even a whole number. That one's tricky because the amount that we have was less than the group that we had. So we knew it was going to be a fraction less than 1. For the algorithm method, it's 2/5 that you keep the same, multiply instead of divide, and this is 5/8 now, 5/8. So here we would multiply the top and the bottom. 2 times 5 is 10, 5 times 8 is 40. This still needs to be reduced. Both of them had to be reduced. So you're not getting away with that in either one of them. Oh, actually, they both are a multiple of 10, so I can divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. 40 divided by 10 is 4. And you can always use your calculator for that. So for both methods, I got 1/4. So both methods show that the total, the dividend, is less than the group that you want. So it's going to only be 1/4. It only has 1/4 out of the 8 that we needed. We only had 2 out of the 8 pieces that we needed. Let's try this problem. This problem says 2/7 divided by 8/3. We'll do this one together. For the algorithm method, the tape diagram method, we're going to need to draw, and then for the algorithm method, we are going to use multiplication and the reciprocal. So let's start with the tape diagram method. For the tape diagram method, what I do need here that I don't see is the same denominators. So I will need to change some stuff up. 2/7 and 8/3. I need them to have the same denominator. Think to yourself what that denominator would be that both of them can go to. What can both 7 and 3 multiply to get to? If you said 21, you are correct. 7 times 3 is 21, and 3 times 7 is 21. So both of them can get there. That means that the top, the numerator number, has to also multiply by that same denominator number. So 7 times 3 gets to 21, 2 times 3 gets to 6. 3 times 7 gets to 21, 8 times 7 is 56, okay? So what are we going to draw? We're not going to draw 2/7, we're going to draw 6 21s, which is a lot. So let's go ahead and draw it. That means we have 20 lines we have to draw in here. 1, 2, let me draw them a little skinnier so I can fit them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then this 21. So let's get rid of this right here, and we'll have 21 in here. We're going to double check it to make sure. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. What are we shading in? We're shading in 6 out of those 21. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we shaded in 6 out of 21, which is the same as 2/7. So we multiply the top and bottom by 3 to get that equivalent ratio. 2/7 is the same as 6/21. Now we need to circle a group of 56 21s. So we've essentially changed this problem into 6 out of 21 divided by 56 out of 21. So I need to circle a group of 56. Am I going to have a group of 56 here? No, I am not. It's going to be so much more, right? I'm going to need a group of 56, but what do I have? I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the answer is that I circle a group of 56, but I only have 6 out of those 56. So that's my answer here. I can reduce that by simplifying it. Can I simplify it? Oh yes, by 2, because they're both even. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 56 divided by 2 is 20. Let's see, 28. So that's my answer, 3 over 28, 3/28. We can use the algorithm method to double check. 2/7 keeps the same, division becomes multiplication, and then 8/3 become 3/8. Multiply top and bottom, we get 6, and 8 times 7 is 56. Look at that, we got the same thing as over here, 6/56. And then we know we can divide by 2 to get our final answer, which is 3/28. Both those methods get us there. One method is a shortcut. That's the algorithm method. And then the tape diagram method helps us draw it out and see why that answer makes sense. You will need to know both of them, okay? However, on a test, I won't make it this ridiculous with the 21 boxes. But know that if you don't have the same denominators, you will have to change them to the same denominators, and you will need to use this as your new problem. So instead of 2/7 divided by 8/3, it became 6/21 divided by 56/21. You want to make sure that you have the same denominator so that you can circle groups there. You can't have a group of 7s and then circle a group of 3rds. It just simply doesn't make sense. Okay, so you have to have both groups of 21 parts in order to circle and draw them. Okay, so let me know as you're working on these problems if you have any questions. It's okay if you do. These are a little more difficult, okay? And if not, I will see you in class.